Hey, what up, family? What's going on this time for No Picks Podcast?
It's good, yo. Joe checking in, No Picks Podcast.
All right, so today we're going to talk about the migrant crisis, specifically in Chicago, right? So, Joe, my question to you is, what's your opinion on the migrant crisis going on specifically in Chicago, which is known as a sanctuary city,
Okay.
right? So before you answer the question, let's play a little bit of some information, and address it, and then you answer the question.
Okay. All right. Let's rock out.
At 5. Concerns in the suburbs where several buses of migrants have been arriving. In Kankakee, asylum seekers were left at a gas station, found wandering at one point on the expressway. In other suburbs, migrants were told to find other transportation to Chicago. Even more buses are expected today. So far, more than 26,000 migrants have arrived in Chicago. More than 14,000 are at city shelters, with more at O'Hare now waiting for placement. Authorities will decide in Will County say that they did not expect the drop-offs in their county.
WGN's Angelica Sanchez joins us now with more. Hi, Angelica.
Good evening. In Kankakee, the group consisted of 30 to 40 people. The sheriff says they were dropped off at a gas station and falsely told them that they had reached Chicago with no direction. Some had started walking on the interstate.
We were a little bit disgusted that a bus driver would do that.
Kankakee County Sheriff Mike Downey tells us his thoughts after a bus driver from El Paso, Texas, dropped off around 30 to 40 migrants at a truck stop in Kankakee County. He says the bus driver told the migrants,
Hold on. All right. So that's all right. So that's wild, right? So I knew that this problem was getting worse, right? Because New York, where was for me was when I first started really paying attention.
Right.
I didn't realize that
Right.
people were taking the immigrants on buses, bringing them up to the sanctuary cities,
Right.
and then being like, "Here you go, you're where
Figure
you're
it
at,"
out.
and just
Yeah.
dropping them off, right?
Yeah.
So now we have this happening in Chicago as well, and other places that they call sanctuary cities.
Right.
And just to make sure, family, sanctuary cities are places that have said we open our doors to immigrants. You know what I mean? Like, we're here to house them and help them, support them. We're not going to push them away.
Right.
These are more liberal cities or a more liberal stance. You know what I'm saying? But these are the sanctuary cities. New York, Chicago, I believe was
Chicago, Colorado is getting at work. I think Denver's getting at work.
Right.
I think there's a city in Massachusetts somewhere. I forget what it's called, but it's somewhere in Massachusetts.
Yeah. There are certain cities that are open and welcome refugees, migrants. So people from the borders or further down south who are dealing with the border crisis and border issues are like, okay, bet you are opening your doors to them. We're going to ship them up to y'all because we don't want them.
Right.
You know what I mean? For whatever reason, we don't want them. We don't have the space. We don't have the capacity. We don't have the resources. We try and take care of our own first. Whatever it is, we're going to ship them to y'all. And they've just been dropping off these migrants at these sanctuary cities, right? So here we have Chicago. And now apparently they were supposed to be in Chicago, but they dropped them off some random gas station. So now you got immigrants being dropped off somewhere in the outskirts of Chicago, walking on the interstate trying to figure out where they're trying to get to. And this is absolutely insane.
Yeah, yeah.
So you asked me what my thoughts were. And like, I think that, man, it's hard for me to imagine extending our resources and our support to people who aren't American citizens when there are so many of us who could use the extra support.
Right.
And it just feels like everyone else but us gets it.
Right.
That's where my first thing, like, my heart goes out to people who either are escaping violence or political instability, like maybe people coming from like Haiti, like that's like in so much turmoil right now.
Yeah.
Like, people are coming from Mexico dealing with the drug cartel. People are coming from all these places trying to find, like, my heart goes out to people because they have genuine stories, and I get it. However, America is in crisis and has been for some time now.
Yeah.
We need to take care of our own. How do we rationalize or justify giving resources, giving taxpayer money to people who are undocumented, people who are migrants, when there are Americans who have it now and could use these resources.
Right.
That's my first thought. Like, where are you at? Like initially, like what's your first thought on this?
The funny thing to me is I think it's funny in general because, as a lifelong Democrat, right? I always thought it was interesting, the whole illegal immigration debate, because how I always saw it was that, Republicans, which are normally white dudes or women, right, come out saying, hey, you know what, like we got to secure the borders. And, they go harder for it, on the border states, like, Texas, whatever. And they're like, yo, like, we need to secure our borders. We don't want we don't want, illegal immigration coming through our borders.
Right.
And my whole life, always, when I heard that, I always heard a Democrat respond by saying like, oh, like, you being xenophobic, you being racist, like these people just coming here for a better life, like what's going on, blah, 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 that's effed up. And I always identify with that because I'm like, damn, you know what, you're right. Like, like, oh, they're only coming here for a better life. Like, what's the big deal, blah, blah. But what I thought with, Texas Governor, Greg Abbott, what he ended up doing was that, like, he's like, okay, cool, like you a bleeding heart, you going hard for these people, okay, cool, I'm gonna send them to you. So you want to be a sick, like, I think it's easy to be on that type time when you ain't got no dog in that fight.
Right.
So when they put these people in on a bus and send them to your ass because your whole campaign was about talking about how I'm a white dude and I'm racist, and you're a minority, and you're up, or not even a minority, you're a Democrat from up the north, and the states, and you're talking about some, all those Southern white dudes or Southern white women are racist. They don't want these people coming through and blah blah blah. It's funny because it's like, okay, like once you start taking a brunt of that of that burden, then the conversation starts to change a little bit, because now you're experiencing the negative effects of this, borderless world that you want to live in.
Yeah. And I'm not even mad at the people who live near to the border, the people who are shipping their migrants to these sanctuary cities. I'm not even mad at their response to, because I feel like if anything, that was the best response.
It was a very good response.
You are so right. You mean you welcome them?
Right.
You want them?
Right.
Which means
take them. Take them all. Take them all.
I think that was like well played. That's all I can say. Is like, yo, that was the best course of action.
Like, oh, okay, cool. Oh, I'm racist. I'm a white dude. I'm Greg Abbott. Oh, I'm white dude. I'm racist. Okay, cool. Take them. And so you shouldn't have any issues out. You should welcome them.
Right. Because
you're a sanctuary city. Your whole identity is being, a haven for these people to live and flourish. Because it's the American dream, and all of us, we're all the country, we have immigrants. And all the stuff that you want to say,
right?
Cool. Then take them. You should welcome them. You should say, "Hey, please send them to me."
Right.
But guess what they're saying? What the New York mayor said. What was his name?
Mayor Adams.
Mayor Adams.
Yeah.
This motherfucker said.
Who's caught up in some stuff now too?
Caught up in some stuff. This motherfucker said. What did he say, Joe? He said, "This will ruin New York."
Yeah.
He's like, this will be the end of us.
Yeah.
This motherfucker, he's saying. Bring them all here. Bring us. You're tired. You're hungry. You're all those people. Okay, cool. Well, you bring the tired and hungry there from Texas, from the fucking border, from Venezuela. They're like, whoa. I didn't think you was going to actually bring these motherfuckers here.
And they brought them. And now y'all talking about we're not getting any support from the government.
Right.
Like, what you mean, bro? Y'all welcome them. So why we got to help y'all? And now people in New York and Chicago, I'd imagine, are upset because they're like, yo, we got homeless here. We got people who need resources here. The cost of living has gone up. We're dealing with inflation. You're giving all these additional resources to non-Americans, you know what I mean? Like, I get that we want to help them, but we don't have the resources.
We ain't got it.
And then anything else that's left over, think about it. Ukraine is getting funding. Israel's getting funding. All these foreign countries
are breaking records. The Venezuelan migrants are breaking records, bro, as far as immigration go. They look like a whole like a parade of motherfuckers coming through the border.
Yeah.
Greg Abbott putting the motherfuckers on a boat, on buses and on planes.
Right. And sending them up.
Sending them up there.
And I can't even act like I know what the actual solution to this issue is. What I know it's not the solution though is to allow this to continue taking on.
You can't bring the whole world here, bro. Like you can't bring the whole fucking
right.
You can't bring the whole world here. You can't bring an entire country of Venezuela and bring it. Like, you can't do it.
Right.
But when Mexicans was coming through and all that, and all the Democrats was like, yo, you know, all the Republicans, y'all xenophobic. That's what made me look differently about politics, bro. Because I'm like, yo, like. It's easy. It's easy to take the moral high ground on some shit that you don't have a stake in.
Right. Like if you're not near the border and you're not dealing with this border issue on a daily basis, you don't know what that feels like.
We didn't give a shit before. Like if you and I lived in Texas, we had like some property over there, and you got some. Like, we would probably think differently of this shit. You mean like? But like when they say all politics is local, that shit is true.
Yeah,
it's like it don't affect you, but it's cool for them to have that moral high ground and be like, "Oh, well, I would never do this. I would never do that," because the Mexicans ain't gonna walk through Texas and do all them places and come to Philly because we in Philly. Mm-hmm. They ain't gonna do that, and it's not gonna affect us because like, okay, they're gonna stop at Texas and just live there. So we don't have a dog in a fight. So we can say the politicians up here can come look down at thumb their noses at the Texas politicians and in Arizona and all that shit and be like, y'all bad people because y'all don't want these people to come live there. Because those people not fucking traveling all those miles to come up to Philly and Delaware and Jersey and all these places. So it's funny.
I know, bro. Listen, I wish I knew what the solution was, but I know that these cities are now overwhelmed by these migrants, and you got to figure out where to house them, how to feed them. You got to figure out if you're going to get them naturalized. You got to figure out how to get them working and get them. You know what I mean? Like
in Massachusetts, bro, they're asking their citizens to house these people that they don't know, and they'll pay them.
For real?
They'll pay. They're asking them like, yo, listen, if you house them for us, we will pay you a stipend, like a goddamn foster fucking kid. Why would you house people that you don't know that may. Like you don't know what these people's situations is. Right. They may grab you. You don't know what they would do, bro.
You don't know.
You don't know these people.
And it's taken on sometimes I'd imagine an entire family. Like even if it wasn't a migrant, even if it was like your cousin Pookie or something who just got kicked out and needed a place to stay. It's really hard to house not just one grown ass person, but several grown ass people. And then if they bring kids, that's crazy.
Right.
It's just a huge inconvenience. You lose part of your privacy, you lose so much of your home.
Right.
You give so much, and there's so much risk.
They're taking a shit in your bathroom.
I can't, bro. I don't know what the solution is, bro. But what I can tell you is that it feels like it's not America first, and it hasn't been for a while.
Right.
It hasn't been Americans first for a while, and that now at the age now that I'm much more conservative, it pisses me off. And it didn't used to before, but now I'm like, what about our people?
But it makes you look at those xenophobic, racist white people now and be like, listen, maybe these motherfuckers had a point.
There was some truth in their anger. It's just I don't support and endorse the bigotry, but I do know that there was some truth in their frustration. Like I definitely.
I bet you who knows the truth now, fucking Johnson from Chicago and Adams from fucking New York. Because Adam's like, listen, this shit about to be the end of us. Like, ain't gonna be no more New York. We all about to die.
But look at how messy it's getting. You could drop off migrants somewhere randomly, and they're not where they're supposed to be, and then they just walk aimlessly. Which means that if some of them could like get into trouble, and I don't want to assume that any of them are thieves, but like you have a bunch of migrants who have nothing, will need something. You don't think they're going to try to steal? Like your survival instinct kicks in immediately. Like, how do I get my food? How do I get something? Like, what am I going to have to do to keep myself or my family alive? Like all those decisions, that's all survival. So you just don't, you're putting people in danger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you don't know, bro, to think that there's some migrants just released randomly in my town and now they're just walking around trying to figure out how to get
warm.
That does not,
that's not
okay, bro. That is, and then it's cold. It's in Chicago now.
Yeah.
You know it gets cold in the Midwest.
Yeah.
I don't know how this is. I don't see this getting any better. Like, at least not, it's going to get worse before it gets better.
What I appreciate about it is the fact that the hypocrisy of the Democratic, mayors and governors and shit of the people who were never affected in the first place is called out. Because now they're like, oh, this is a problem. What the fuck going on? Like, why y'all doing this to us? This is inhumane.
Right.
Don't do this to us. but what was happening in Texas and shit for all of our lifetime. Yeah. And back then, you look at it and you like, you racist son of a bitch. How dare you? Like, they're just trying to live their lives, and you're just killing them. Like, you're just condemning them to it. Now you look at it and be like, right. Now the Democrats are like, whoa, this will end us. Now you're like, wait, why didn't y'all look at it like that back then? Right. When the Republicans were saying this shit, like, nigga, listen, like this is an issue.
Right, and you've been told now to put your money where your mouth is. Here you go, have at it. And now you're like, we stress, we don't have no support. It's like, bro, this is how we feel. We're trying to keep them out at the border. We're trying to push them back out. We're trying to, make sure they're not getting any illegally. We're trying to make sure they're not smuggling things in. We're trying to make sure they're not hurting any of our American citizens. Like, it's a whole process. But now it's like, okay, y'all deal with them. Now y'all can't. It's not a good look. It's not a look good, sanctuary cities. Right. It's really not a good look. But listen, yeah, it hasn't been America first for a while, bro. I mean, I know we got a brother here. We got Army Strong right here. And I'll be the first to tell you, like, our the way our country treats our veterans. We could have more resources and more support just for our veterans. Right. Why are we giving it to people who aren't Americans who could be using it? That's all I'm at. Like, I'm not trying to be xenophobic. I'm not trying to come off that way. But, like, why don't we take care of our first? Stop giving money to the migrants. Stop giving money to these wars that are currently going on that we are funding with tax dollars. Like, we need so much, bro. Just our veterans off, just starting with our freaking veterans would be a nice start. So I don't know, bro. Do you have any other thoughts or final? Because this is getting kind of ridiculous. Right. It's going to be a big issue for the next presidential election, by the way. Yeah, like immigration has always been a hot topic.
I don't think the Biden administration has like a good answer for it. They don't have anything to say.
I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know how, but I know if someone like Trump runs. And I don't know. He like, yo, fuck I don't know if that wall ever got erected or how strong it was, but you know where he's at with this. Yeah. So it's gonna be this is gonna be an interesting topic in the election, bro. Yeah, and know they're gonna talk about the crisis, so it's gonna come up. Yeah. But anyway, any final thoughts?
Nah, no final thoughts. You take it away.
Listen, like, subscribe, engage, share. Let us know what you think about this topic. It affects all of us. We are American citizens. Who knows? Philly might even open up and be a sanctuary city. And next thing you know, you got Juan working at the Poppy store. Well, we already got Juan's at the Poppy stores, but we got somebody else there working. So let us know. We're on the move. We're excited to be back, guys. We're always happy to engage with y'all. Hopefully me and Tyler get more opportunities to actually physically be here because I thought this was pretty dope just to be able to share the mic and just talk. So this is really nice. But we got lots of things in store for the future. So please tune in and please like and subscribe. Until next time.